Hello, hello, welcome back. So now we're getting into Evolve Artist Block 2 assignments, and none of these are paintings because now we're finally getting into the drawing part um, of the process. And actually, the interesting thing is, when I first thought about doing Evolve, one thing that held me back was I didn't think I wanted to be a painter. I wanted to learn how to draw things. And so I thought that meant like studying anatomy and doing all those like circles and squares and um, I don't know what I was thinking actually. Anyways, and then I did some research into Evolve and I found out that there is a drawing portion. And so this is it. This is the drawing portion of the Evolve program. And I actually um, well, let's get started. Look at some of these images first and then we'll talk a little more about it. So the first thing that we needed to do was design a shadow box. And what I did was I just found, I think it was an Amazon box or something, and then pulled out the flaps, covered the inside with some black construction paper, taped it all together, got one of those bendy neck lamps, and then created a shadow box. And then we're supposed to set it about at least 3 feet away from us. And here you can see that I have my shadow box in the about 3 feet away on a table, and then over here I've got my music stand with my sketchbook on top, and there's a big oil stain on there. But anyways, yeah, so then what we do is we use the shadow box to practice our observation skills. And in drawing, observation skills are really, really important because it's like it's like learning a language how your input is very important to your ability to speak. With art, your ability to see things as they are and not as your brain um, wrongfully construes them is important to how you draw. So actually, the first two assignments in this block didn't even have us draw at all. We were just practicing measuring. So what we had to do was we had to find 3 equally shaped soup cans and then practice measuring the width and height using our eyes and then the knitting needle that we were provided. It's more like a wooden dowel actually that we were provided in our Evolve box. So the first couple assignments, just measuring height and width with these soup cans. And then we were also told to find ourselves a ball. So I found 3 round objects. We've got the soup can, we've got a ball, and we've got a round thing of soap. And then we had to practice drawing. It looks a little bit faint here. I don't know if you can see that, but we just practice measuring them and then drawing them on our sketchbook. And then you just take a picture of that and submit it, and just let the instructors know that you have practiced your measuring. And it's a little tricky to, hold still and keep your arm from shaking as you're holding it straight in front of you with your elbows straight as well, because every little bit that you move your elbow changes the measurement. So it's a little hard to explain, but I'm sure those of you who have ever practiced measuring things by eye, like squinting an eye and holding out your stick, most people use a pencil because they sketch with a pencil, but we use a thinner dowel because it's more accurate. And then I collected a few different sized cans and things to practice measuring with. Um, and this was all part of our first couple assignments, and then a few other random objects, very simple geometric objects, just cylinders, boxes, and I made myself a couple cones, although they're a little inaccurate, I think. Oh well. And bottles and things. So those are the first two measuring exercises. And then the first drawing exercise, we were to pick a couple or, 2 or 3 simple geometric objects and then practice drawing them. So ideally you have a ball in there, because the nice thing about a ball is that it should be the same size or the same width, length, whether you're measuring the width, the height, or on the diagonal, that measurement should always be the same amount. So you can check your measuring. Like if you hold your stick out horizontal and you take a certain measurement, then you turn it vertical and you check the measurement, it should be the same. If it's not the same, then you know you did something wrong. So I definitely wanted to include a ball in there, and then a can, and then another like this yogurt can thing that's it's not really cylindrical, it kind of flares out, not flares out, but it gets wider at the bottom, so that's a bit of a challenge. And then we were told to draw it. As you can see, this is not the most accurate drawing. The idea is first you sketch it, and then you guess, like based on your eyes, you guess like, okay, if the width of my ball is my standard unit of 1, let's say, then how many ball lengths is the is the can, for example, and it's about, oh, 2.2, 2.3, something like that. And then you guess, and then after you're done guessing, you pick up your dowel and you actually measure it to see how accurate your guess is. And that actually really helps to change the way that your eyes see things, because at least for me, because I'm not a trained artist, a lot of the things that I thought were not actually accurate. I would say, oh, this thing looks to be about 2.3 standard units, and it's actually like 1.9 or something like that. So that was really interesting. Okay, and then so that was the first drawing, and then we were to do it again. And this time I chose slightly more challenging objects, including a pear and a vase that kind of narrows in the middle and then flares out at the end. But even so, the vase is still not extremely complicated, because even though it's not a perfect cylinder, the lines on the sides aren't straight, but the middle section, or rather the top and the bottom are still about the same length. So I didn't challenge myself too much because I'm still building up my perception skills. And then I use that same yogurt container on the bottom as well. And then of course the same function, which is like you guess first and then you actually measure. And then down below I use the final measurements to make a proportional drawing that ideally should be pretty accurate. Again, the yogurt container did not turn out very well. These openings and things are kind of difficult, but well, that's what practice is for. Okay, and then we did it again, and this time I decided to challenge myself with a box. So we've got a box, a salt shaker, and then an upside down cup. And the upside down cup also is a little tricky because it kind of has a wider base. Another problem that I had too, that I didn't notice until I was like halfway through all of these exercises, was that I wasn't taking accurate pictures. So in this picture, you can see that the angle of the image, the box, you can see the left side of the box a little bit more than you can see the right. In other words, that middle diagonal line isn't facing straight at you, whereas in my drawing, I do have it that way. And I think what happened there is that I took a drawing from the wrong angle. So yeah, that's not helpful, because if you post this picture and then you post your drawing and the picture is wrong, then obviously the instructors can't see how accurate your drawing was because your picture is inaccurate. So that was something that took me a while to learn, is that when I'm taking pictures, I want them to be as accurate as possible. Then I decided to do another box one, and with a cylinder, and then this time with an orange. So it's like sort of round, but not really. And then again, we do the guess, like how many units it is, and then actually measure how many units it is. One of the things about this too was I didn't know how many measurements I should take. There's like, I don't know how many, 20 different measurements that I took here. Somebody more experienced probably doesn't need to measure that many numbers, but I did. All of these drawings took me anywhere from 1 to 2 hours each, I would say. And then here's the final drawing, where you can see the cylinder, the box, and the orange. And it's not the most accurate. The orange turned out okay. The box is the most challenging, and I realized that boxes are my weakness, especially when they're at a weird angle. And so I decided to challenge myself by doing more boxes in the future, which is the reason why the next image is the cup now right side up with a handle showing, and another box and angled a little slightly odd. And so one thing we were told is that we want to look at the picture either straight on, or our eye level should be slightly above it, just to make the images more accurate. And as you can see, my first attempt at drawing this cup and box was completely off, so I just like scrapped it and tried again. It's better, but still not perfect, as you can tell. We're trying to keep our drawings within a 10% margin of error, because of course nothing is perfect, but like that is the goal. Okay, and then I tried a different object combination this time. We have an apple, a upside down, I don't know what kind of container this is, and then a roll of tape. Now this roll of tape was really rather tricky, as you can see. So I ended up doing something like this. It's a little awkward. That roll of tape really was not the best, but that's okay. And then we've got another one, which is, again, a box, but then this time with a soap dispenser and an apple. I decided to challenge myself a little bit with that soap dispenser because it has some more detail in it. It's a little tricky doing the apple though, because it's right in the middle of the box, and so measuring like from what side of the box should I measure where the apple starts. But this is what I ended up with. As you can see, the apple is a little bit too close to the edge of the box. But the soap dispenser turned out okay, so there's that. And then we have our final image. This one I decided to do something really crazy and found this lamp and put a ball on top of it, and then of course another box, because you have to keep practicing those boxes. You have to keep practicing what you're not good at, right? You need to work on the things that challenge you. So again, the boxes, it's okay, but I'm pretty happy with how this lampstand with the ball turned out. So those are the 8 drawings and 2 measuring exercises of the first half of Block 2. A lot of people, well, not a lot, but there were some people in the Facebook group and stuff who were like, "Oh, this is the most boring part of the program, because you're not actually painting, and painting is why most of us are here." But I actually think that this was just right for me, to be honest, because I don't have a whole lot of drawing skills. So I realized that I do need the practice, and this was really, really helpful. So anyways, that's it for this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one, where we actually start going back to paintings again. Keep on making and enjoying beautiful things, and I'll see you then. Bye!